What is happening, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Fresh Hope for Better You podcast. I'm your host, as always, Aubrey Goulet, and I'm here to bring you some fresh hope for your day. As always, I want to start off with just saying how grateful I am for each and every one of you taking the time out of your day to tune in week to week and listening to my stories, my experiences, in order to help you become a better version of yourself, because that's the ultimate goal with this podcast is to impact and inspire millions of people throughout the course of my life. And you guys have been leaving me great ratings and reviews, so I really appreciate that. And they're not just surface level things; they're actually in depth things that have helped me improve on the podcast. What you guys like, what you don't. So I do appreciate that. And once again, we have another guest on the podcast today. You guys have been really enjoying that, so figured I might as well keep bringing on some high achieving individuals that'll help hopefully give you a different perspective on your life. Share some stories and experiences that they have that'll ultimately help you become a better version of yourself. And today we are joined by my fellow Arete brother, Jesse Piccolo. Don't mind
Piccolo,
if I
Piccolo,
uttered that,
Piccolo. You good? You
but
good?
Piccolo. Yes, Jesse is an amazing individual. He is an entrepreneur. He is the owner of Vetted Ventures and a mastermind group that we meet on Monday nights called Tapin. And I just wanted to tell you guys a little bit about this. So when I first got into talking with Jesse and stuff like that, I was kind of falling away from my faith and my spirituality and my relationship with God. And this man really helped open my eyes to just allowing myself to be more present and just finding the time to give to God and give thanks and talk to him, because ultimately he kind of opened the doors for me to realize that no matter where I'm at, God is within me and the answers are always within us. And just looking deep, and I think that's something that so many people struggle with, is just looking inside for the answers. They're always looking at every other place, when ultimately most of the answers can be answered from within inside yourself. So I just want to say thank you for that, Jesse, and I'm excited to get into today's call, man.
Yeah, I appreciate the introduction, man. Appreciate all the words. I want to applaud you on getting your podcast running up and all the success that you've had. Thank you for having me on here, and I hope that we can deliver extreme value and some perspective to your listeners. So I'm looking forward to getting after it with you.
Yeah, man. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, Jesse?
I live in Florida, Melbourne, Florida to be exact. I'm 33 years old. I'll be 34 next month. I have three beautiful daughters. Aubrey is 10, Riley is 8, and Harper is 4. I've been married for 5 years now. I've been with my wife, though, for a total of 12. Grew up playing sports all my life. Kind of had an awareness of, that God was an important, supposed to be an important figure in your life, but it never connected. You kind of just go with the flow of society. Played college baseball, JUCO for 2 years. Went to St. John's River, then went to Georgia Southern Division I baseball. Got kicked off 12 games into the season for just kind of losing my way and thinking that I had made it and achieved my goal, which was to play Division I baseball and have an opportunity to play in the College World Series. And society, the fast life, everything just got caught up. I got so fulfilled with fulfilling, my own personal desires of the physical flesh, to where I lost sight of who I was, what I was here for. And I kind of reflect on back to not having a relationship with myself and the God within me. So now I have a successful business called Vetted Ventures, where I help high net worth individuals around the country source and transact on exclusive limited production exotic cars like Porsche, Ferraris, Bugattis, things of that nature. And then, I personally believe that that window of creating financial freedom to this point in my life right now, and the relationships that I have, God has put me on the course to fulfill his will within inside of me, which has led me to, the whole Tapin brand and helping people align with the God within them, because it's what saved my life. I give it all credit to, where I am and how I live, based off my relationship with God. So I want to turn around and give the wisdom and the value that I've found within inside myself through my relationship with God, and give it back to, anybody who wants to listen, or anybody who's seeking to build a relationship with God, because to me, it is what's ultimately most important. And with what's going on in the world, we need to bring God to the forefront. And I'm very, very, very passionate about that, because it is a competition of who's going to have dominion over your kingdom. And it's either going to be you and God, or it's going to be the enemy and your lower self. And the choice is yours. So, yeah, that's a little bit about me.
That's a hell of an intro, brother. So what got you started, or like what made you start Vetted Ventures?
I was okay. So I used to work at Hertz Rental Car. Got like when I tell you like I came up not knowing, hey, all I want to do is get a job with benefits, right? Because I had one kid at the time, and so my cousin got me into Hertz Rental Car. Worked there for 2 years, and I was like, you know what, dude, I'm making $500 a week. This is BS. I'm hustling people on car coverage. I need to get out of this. I need if I'm gonna work 50 hours a week for somebody else making $550 a week, I can make way more money working for myself. So when I left there, I did a little bit of baseball stuff. And then my cousin who got me the job at Hertz, he started his own company. He's like, hey, come work for me. We're going to start selling stuff to wealthy people like cars, handbags, watches, kind of be like a concierge service. And I was like, all right, be around high net worth individuals and be around, really expensive stuff. Sign me up. I'm down. I'm good at sales. I'm good with people. I think I'll be successful at it. So they introduced me to the industry of servicing these people and providing value in sourcing these hard to find items. And so that's what got me into it, to be exact. And that was in mid 2016. And while I was doing that, I was in and out of, hustles per se, professions. I was 1 foot in on working for that company at the time, Belchicon, sourcing these cars. And I had 1 foot in my other venture, which was bringing me instant money because I was dead broke at the time. So like I couldn't fully commit to the cars because I was broke and I needed to provide for my family. So that's what got me into it. And then in 2017, I fully committed and started calling private sellers online, asking if I can help them sell their Porsches. They said yes. I'd send their cars to the used car sales manager at Porsche dealerships. They would give me buy bids. I'd take that to the seller and we'd be able to make a deal and I'd get my cut. And then from there, I built relationships with the end user, somebody who can afford a 6-7 figure car, which blew my mind because I'd never seen those people before. I never even knew it was very possible because you grow up in middle class society. You have a limited, but not so much a limiting belief, but you only see what you're around, your environment. So that's what you kind of adapt yourself to. But when I got introduced to a whole new world of people who could afford 6-7 figure cars, it really started to expand my mind and my consciousness and actually told me like, yo, if these dudes can afford these cars, then I can afford these cars. So then that really pushed me and gave me the motivation to pursue the career, even though I had to, not make any money for the first year until I started seeing rewards. But yeah, that's in a wraparound way. That's what got me into the business and kept me on that track to continue to pursue, my career in vet adventures and sourcing these cars. So
That's awesome, man. And that goes into something I talk about very heavily is like, you're raised and stuff with all these limiting beliefs. If you're a middle class or lower class American, like all those rich people are just lucky, yada, yada, yada. But the more you spend time around those people, you notice that they are really no different than us. Like they're no different than myself. And you just realize that, if they can do it, why can't I?
right.
And that just puts in perspective, like, okay, how you just start looking at things differently, like money differently. And like I think like people have such a limiting factor on money where they're like, oh, I can only make X amount of dollars. If I get this job, I can make that. But in all reality, like there's an abundance of wealth out there that is totally in reach of anyone. It's just, are you willing to surround yourself with the right people? Because if you would have hung around all the dead end people that you used to spend time with back in the day, you would still have those limiting beliefs and you wouldn't be where you are now. But the fact that you made that leap to try to get around more like-minded individuals and see that growth and see that opportunity has expanded your mind and allowed you to become the man you are today.
Right. And I'm going to piggyback off that. A lot has to do with identity, like who are you? Like, what are you? And what really kind of transformed my consciousness when I got down to the root was like, yo, I'm a child of God, right? And if God created all of this, right? And I see these people with all this money, and yeah, they work hard. I'm never going to discount the work. To me, doing the work is a given. Like the fact that we even got to talk about, you got to do the work, you got to do the work. Like, dude, if you got to sit there and tell yourself, I got to do the work, you're not even on my level, bro. You're not even on the level that's going to get you to success. That's a fucking given. Pardon my language, bro. Like you need to transform your identity. And so once I really started to adapt the fact that, hold on, I'm a child of God. And if God created all of this intelligence, created all these people, and we're all children of the Most High, then why would I have any limiting belief inside myself that I can't accomplish or do anything? We send rockets to the moon. We build skyscrapers that are 120 stories high. Like that blows my mind that we can even do that type of stuff. So like look around. Like there should be no limiting beliefs to anything that you can create or want to create, because I truly feel that that is your whole purpose here in existence on this earth, is to create with the connection of God. Like there is no limitation here. Look around. We have created everything. We create artificial intelligence. Like the fact that we're talking, you're in a whole different state. Like, how is this even possible? Like, it blows my mind, but there is a way. So if you want to set out to accomplish something in your life, build something, create a business, become somebody who you want to be within and without, and give that person to the world, there should be nothing that holds you back when you have the identity of, I'm a child of God. And if I'm going to do that, I want to rock with God and allow him to help me create the life that I ultimately want to live. So, that's really what helped me get rid of these limiting beliefs, and no fault to like the way you were raised and what you experienced and your parents and whatnot. But like, that's the mentality that we need to have moving forward as a society, is, like, we're all children of the Most High, and together, like, we're supposed to create our reality and bring value to the world. So just wanted to say that.
So now we're going to this topic. Do you think now that they've tried removing religion and stuff from the schools is a big reason why the world is the way it is today, man?
No, I don't. And, this is, I want to say I respect everybody's beliefs, as long as you're building a relationship with God and whatnot, like working on that, like kudos to you. We're all different and have the right to believe what we want to believe. But I truly believe that religion is there to entrap like your mind and not put handcuffs on your spirit, get you to think one way. Like, think about like how many Christians are in the world, like, why is the world the way it is? Like, there's a lot of good, but there's also a lot of evil, and I feel like evil is winning it. So like, to remove religion out of schools, like, I mean, that would just be like, the straw that just broke the camel's back, I guess, per se. But what we need to be doing is we need to actually be talking about God and building the relationship from a child, because Jesus tells you, like, you're not going to get into the kingdom of heaven if you don't revert to like a child. The children of heaven can inherit the kingdom of heaven, but we're so disconnected from the child within us, which was pure to the divine when we were born. We're conformed to this world, which is filled with sin and physical flesh. And, we move as a physical being instead of as a spiritual being. So, at the bottom line, it's a spiritual war, and they want to remove the God from within each and every one of us and become our God. And that I have a big fucking problem with. And I love competition, and I'm over here like, no, you're not going to do that. Like, I'm going to stand for what's right and till the day I die. And, if I do meet my maker and my creator, I want him to say like, yo, bro, you had my back the whole time. You stood up, you proclaimed my love, my faith, my power. Like, I got you, and to me, that's the way relationships work. I got your back, you got my back. If I'm a ride or die, and God gave me this opportunity to have a life, like, we need to be talking about that. We need to be giving praise, and it needs to come from a place like of realness within, not just like a placebo effect. Like, oh yeah, So I guess.
Yeah, no, 100%. So I know a couple of weeks ago we talked about like that, and you said, as long as you have God's back, he's gonna have your back. And like, that's something I've really been thinking about on a daily basis. Is like, whenever I'm going through struggles or anything like that, as long as I'm giving, back to God and talking to him and doing right and just things in the world and trying to become the best and highest version of myself, that he's always going to have my back. But the trials and the struggles and obstacles that I'm going through right now are just preparation for what I'm going to have in the future. And like, if you want an average life, you're not going to have huge problems. You're not going to have big obstacles to overcome. But the bigger your dreams and goals are, the bigger those problems and obstacles are going to be, because you get paid. The bigger problems you solve, the more money you make.
Right. The more
valuable.
It's fact. You're not going to become more valuable by not going through the trenches and overcoming, adversity and difficulties and roadblocks and things like that. Because that's where you're going to learn. That's where you're going to grow. And that's where you're going to be able to provide value back to the people who are behind you, trying to come up the same path that you came up. And if we're all too timid and scared to take those leaps, then like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, I mean, that's most people, dude. Most people.
I want to change that. I want to change that perspective. Like, even on all the top podcasts, we're like, society is this. We let this happen. We allow this. People operate like this. All those people. It's only a small percentage of people. You know, they just have control and power over the way we think in the way they portray this world. We need to change the narrative and reverse it. You know, it's like, yeah, most people want to live an average life. No, fuck that. Most people don't want to live an average life. They're just caught up and stuck, and they don't know the way to get out of it. You know, like, we need to change the perspective and the narrative and saying, no, there is a way, bro. You don't want to live an average life. Nobody wants to live an average life. Everybody lives within, and they wish they had a different life, but they just conform and they're like, oh no, I'm comfortable, I'm okay with this. And if you are, then fine, great. But like, you know, I think most people know they're leaving a lot on the table, and they want to know how to maximize, you know, their life here and the experience that they've been granted. So.
No, and I totally agree with that. Is that I firmly believe that everyone knows deep down they're meant for something more. And the people that get stuck with being average and not pursuing anything worthwhile, they just have all these limiting beliefs that hold them back. And then ultimately, like you said, like, look at now, you're in freaking Florida and I'm in Michigan, dude. We're having a full on conversation. I see you, you see me. Most people from like around my area, they have no idea what the fucking Zoom is. They have no idea where the technology is and how much is available nowadays. And it's like they have all these limiting beliefs. They're like, oh, you can't make money online. You can't, build relationships online. Some of my best friends I've met maybe one time in person because I talked to them over Zoom because we're like minded and stuff like that. And most people just can't grasp that concept of, you have to spend your time with people that are trying to go to the places that you are. Otherwise, you're kind of just wasting it. You're gonna be stuck with those same five, like, in Think and Grow Rich, you are the sum of the five people you spend the most time with. That is the most true. That's the truest saying, because when I was partying and doing heavy drugs and I was extremely overweight, I hung out with people that were in the same position. But as soon as I started that, self-development path and trying to find better and become a better version of myself, I started drawing these people in. Now I found my tribes. I found my tribe within First Form. I found my tribe within Arete. I found my tribe within Tapin. I found my tribes because we're all trying to accomplish some fucking big shit compared to Joe Schmo that's looking forward to going out on fucking, Thursdays to have a drink after work.
Yep.
Like, that's the type of people I want to spend my time with. And I feel like most people are raised in that environment, which makes them believe like that's all they're meant to do, but they haven't tapped into what's really available now. And that's what holds most people back is the knowledge is all there. It's just they're looking for the answers in all the wrong places.
Outside themselves. Yeah. Because they've never been taught. Like, that's again, like, that's why I say I think religion puts handcuffs on you, because they tell you, if you go within inside and you meditate, you open up your minds to devils and demons and stuff like that. And it's just like, bro, no, like, not at all. And yeah, that's what just brings me back to the identity part. They have not been told who and what they are and what they're actually made of. And it just brings me back to the identity of being a child of God. Like, we all have characteristics. We look like our biological fathers. We have traits of our biological fathers. So, like, if in the Bible it sits there and tells you, like, yo, the Spirit of God dwells within you, you're a child of God, like, you're the temple of God, like, oh my God, blow my mind. Like, wow, like, that's pretty powerful to me. Like, I'm going to hang my hat on that. I'm going to start to build my identity off of that. So, like, that's how God, like what you were saying about the five people that you surround yourself, like, that's how God works through each and every one of us. Like, God's going to sit there and say, like, create the life that you want. You want to throw your life away over drugs and party? By all means, go ahead and do it. You're going to surround yourself with those people because that's what you're putting off. That's what you're going to attract. If you want to sit there and become the best version of yourself and personally develop and be rich and wealthy, then you're going to start taking actions. You're going to start thinking differently. You're going to start to vibrate and radiate at a certain frequency. And you're going to begin to attract those people in your life. That's how this whole system of life in the world and the energy around us works. Do they teach you that at a young age? No, they indoctrinate you and get you to think out of the left side of your brain so that you can be another pawn in the system. Do we understand that yet? Like, that should piss you off and want to break that fucking cycle and say, oh my God, I've become everything they wanted me to become because I'm a statistic, I'm a number, I'm a dollar value in return to their system. And the system was made by man. God's system is over here on the right side. And he's like, bro, fuck the left side, just come over here on the right side, tap in over here. And then once you start operating with me and you start flowing with me and I start taking control of your ways and your thoughts, then you can go over to the left side, take everything that you learned from me on the right side and implement it over here into the matrix and learn how to operate and create the life that you want in abundance of freedom, of power, of bliss, of hey, I got your back, you got my back. So, yeah.
For the listeners, rewind that back a few different times the last 3 minutes and listen to the heat Jesse just dropped. If y'all were just to take one thing from this whole fucking episode, it'd be that right there, and re-listen to that and ingrain that into your mind, and your whole fucking life will change as long as you take action.
Right
As
on.
long as you take action on some real shit. Like, that was some heat, and that's the message that most people need to fucking hear right now. Is that message right there.
And I love watching the Patriots of America. Like, I'm not the biggest patriotic person, but like I can respect and appreciate the passion that like Andy Frisella has for the country, because his grandfather died in World War II. And they're gung-ho on America, they're gung-ho on America. And I fucking love that. Like, we need to be gung-ho on God, because like we are each the temple of God. So why are we not gung-ho on that? And I'll tell you why. From my personal experience, going into churches and stuff, in the 90s and early 2000s, it's very like, whoa, this is like, what is this stuff? It's almost like a cult almost. And now you see like the new age churches, it's a lot of like motivational speakers tying into the Bible, and it's cool, it's friendly, it's good, it's and whatnot. Bro, it just turns you off from the word of God. It just turns your spirit off, because it's deceit. And I truly feel like the right people have the right intentions when they're up there talking about God, like, of course. But just as you're coming up, your spirit, when you're a child and you're connected to that divine, pure as day, is not resonating with that word in that way of indoctrination of religion and who and what God is. And so like you conform, you see it, and then I mean, fuck. And then why are we all trying to rewire ourselves right now? Why are we all trying to deprogram ourselves right now? Why are we all trying to go back and fix ourselves and realize we got all these problems, and hey, we want to be personal excellence so that we can give the world like our best self, It's because we were wired a certain way that, it has nothing to do with the creation of God, my personal opinion. So
Yeah, no, that's all.
yeah.
It's just mind-boggling to think about that, man. And I remember, like, so I talked to you about this when I was first like getting into Tapin and in the weekly calls, that I spent, I think, the 3 months before that trying different churches, trying all these different things, because I didn't feel that, the spirituality within me like wasn't there. My relationship with God really wasn't there where I'd like it to be, because ultimately I know He's, the guiding light for me, and I'm just a servant of Him, and I'm here to do right and just things. And I just was trying to find my place. Like, I grew up Catholic, and then, I really wasn't that bought into it. That's just because like it really wasn't enjoyable for me, because, you have all these old priests and stuff like that. And it just didn't speak to me the way that, our tap-in meetings do. Like, that shit speaks to me. Like, I'm in church, I'm falling asleep, I'm not engaged, I'm not like feeling anything. In our tap-in meetings, my heart rate's at zone 2. Like, I'm pumping the whole time, bro. Like, I'm feeling it within me, because it's really making me think about, the Lord being within me, and me actually knowing, the answers. I just have to look inward and just coming to the realizations myself, and, not being indoctrinated into, I think it is basically like a cult now with churches, because you have all these Christians going every single week, but yet, they're shitty people Monday through Saturday, but Sunday they're freaking, all hail Jesus, all this stuff. But it's like, that means fucking nothing if you're not living it day to day. It doesn't do anything for you. Like, yeah, you can be forgiven for your sins, but if you're continuing to sin Monday through freaking Saturday and asking for forgiveness Sunday, what is your life? What is your purpose here? You're not being your full potential, and you're not trying to make something out of this life by giving back to the Lord and doing what's right and just. And I think that so many people think that I need to go to church in order to, be closer with God. You're with God all day long. He is within you. You just have to tap in. And it's very simple. Just opening your eyes to that. And I think the audience really needs to realize that is like, yes, it is good to go to church if that makes you feel good. But if you're going to church on Sundays and that's the only time you're really giving to God and, talking to Him and being there and serving a purpose, then you're not doing even close to what you need to be doing. You need to be talking with God every day. You need to be meditating, looking inward, because I know, like, I struggled with meditation for the longest time, and I didn't understand it. I didn't feel it. But like, after doing the tap-in meetings and realizing that and just spending time with myself, like, all the answers come to my head. I figure out a way to overcome the adversity and stuff like that. And it may not come like right in that meditation, but later on throughout the day, it'll just click with me. And I'm like, oh, There it is. It came to me. And just I think so many people like are looking for all these answers, but yet they neglect to look inward where the answers are going to come and the right answers are going to come because you may be asking for all the answers to your problems and you may be asking, all your friends and family and stuff, but that's not what's going to get you the right answer that you're looking for. The answer you're looking for comes within from God and from within yourself. And I think most people need to realize that and quit looking for the answers everywhere else. And you need to look inward first. And then if you can't find it inward, then you look externally.
Right. And what happens when you start to look in, bro, is you begin to realize like what you've been doing with your life. Like the curtain gets pulled back. And a lot of people don't like what they see and they don't want to go back in there. And so therefore they just revert to continuing on the lifestyle that they live because it brings them comfort. It brings them, the external joy, that the physical reality will give you. And God's inside of you saying, bro, if you think that shit is fire, if you think that is cool, like you have no idea what I can give you, And I say that from personal experience. And I also say that because that's what it says in the Bible, like I had to follow that book. And a lot of people realize like, man, I haven't been living right. I haven't been living right. And they don't want to change. They don't want to change because they're self-serving. They're serving their egos. They're serving their lower level desires. They know that, man, if I'm going to operate under God's way, I got to stop doing all this stuff. And you know what? I don't want to stop doing that stuff, but then you're only going to continue to get the results that you're going to get. And it's going to allow your probability to sin and to fall into traps and to create bad karma just grow. The probability is going to be much, much higher than if you're, operating under God's ways, which he has intended for you, because he's going to guide your steps. He's going to protect you. He's going to keep you from the enemy. And I'm telling you, man, he's just, I got 3 beautiful kids. I had my first kid when I was 22 years old. I had no money in my account, bro. I've been through it, been addicted to drugs, been broke, almost $50,000 in debt. Like, come on, man. Like the shit that I've gotten up out of is all because of my relationship with God and following that voice that comes from within, which gives you the answers. Like I tried to turn to family. I remember looking at my grandparents after an incident, and I said, what? They're like, oh, how you doing? I was like, I'm not just gonna give them the old, oh, I'm doing good. I said, I'm fucked. I said, I don't know what to do. Like this is why I literally told them. I said, I don't know what to do, man. This is what's going on, And they looked at me almost like, well, we were not expecting that. And then they had no answers for me. They had no wisdom to give me, no direction. Just like, oh, like, fuck. So like, that's how I knew, like, man, I gotta go within, man. The God within me is gonna lead me and guide me up out of it, because that's what it says in the book. And again, like, you got to think about this whole entire creation. Like the animals, nobody's telling them when to move and how to function. They're moved from the divine. It's just instinct, and we have that same instinct that we should be moved and guided from the divine. And I'm telling you, when you follow that, you'll be put on your path and fulfill your purpose that God has intended for you here. And let me just give you a quick example. I met a dude at the bar at Buffalo Wild Wings. I met my buddy for lunch. This dude went to work at Walmart for 18 years. He's now a store manager. He's 24 years old. He works Monday through Friday, gets paid good, but on the weekends, he says, I drink and I gamble. And my wife hasn't been accustomed to that because she's Spanish and she doesn't know how we do it here in America. On the weekends, we drink and we watch football, And in my head, I'm just like, okay, live your life. But like, is that what God has intended for you? Is that your purpose here on life, to work, 50 hours a week at Walmart and then destroy your temple through alcohol and gamble all your money away? Just because he's looking for that release. He's looking for that place of, hey, I just got off of work. I need to do something for me, But like, that's not what God has intended for you in this purpose of life. But, like that's the system and that's what they want. And I want to help people break out of that, because at the end of the day, it's detrimental to, your spirit and your physical well-being. And
so going into like destroying your temple, because I know you've been a drug addict just like myself. And I know when I was going down that really dark path, like I was so comfortable with doing those things because it made me feel good. It made me all these things. And like, I realized that, at the time I didn't realize what it was, but when I had that epiphany of me at my own funeral one night laying awake, I know that was God showing me my future. if I continued down that path. And the fact that I was destroying my temple every single day for 3 years. And it finally reached that point where God's like, this is where you're going to fucking end up if you don't stop this shit. And the fact that now my life has changed and made a complete 180. I can feel myself just actually living out what I'm supposed to compared to back then when I was hiding from everything. All the answers were already there. I was getting slapped in the face with, me getting robbed or one of my grow facilities burning down or me breaking up with my girlfriend after a long time. Just all these things crumbling at one time because it was right at the end of that my partying and addiction phase. It was just like, you're either gonna change or you're gonna fucking die. Like this is what's gonna happen. And if you don't start making this change, your life is wasted. And once I made that, like I came to the realization, like it's no one's gonna save me. It's myself. I'm the only person that's going to save me. And the only person that's truly gonna have my back is God. And at the time, I just was like, why, God? Like, why is all this bad shit happening? Even though I knew that it was happening for a fucking reason because it was getting thrown in my face. And it's like, you're not living the life you're supposed to be living, dude. Don't waste your fucking precious time because time is the most valuable thing we have. And the less time you waste, the more you can make of your life. And isn't that the ultimate goal is to maximize your time here on earth, make the most of what you can out of life, and become the best version of yourself? Because I know my purpose is simply become the best version of yourself. Do as much as you possibly can during your time on here on earth and make the biggest fucking impact you can. That is my purpose. And if I'm not living my purpose, I feel drained. I feel like even now, if I'm not, pushing myself, whether that be with 75 hard, my fitness, nutrition, or just getting out of my comfort zone, I feel that because that's God telling me, like, you're not living up to your potential, dude. What the fuck are you doing? Like, he will check you. And it's the voice inside your head that's always saying, it's telling you all the right things to do. That is God within you telling you what the fuck you need to be doing. And more people need to start listening to that voice.
Yes.
That voice is what's going to guarantee you're going to make something of your life if you listen to it. Because you can ask, like, with saying things in the universe, like, yes, if you say it in the universe, it's more likely to happen because guess what? The man upstairs is listening. He knows what you want. He's going to put those opportunities in front of you. Yeah, you'd be like, oh, I want to be a millionaire by this date. Well, guess what? He's not just going to make you a millionaire that day. He's going to put this obstacle in your way to overcome to see how bad you want it. And then he's going to put another one to see how bad you want it. And then another one to see how bad you want it. Okay, this dude really knows what he wants to do. Okay, I'm going to put this person here. And you're going to talk to this person. And he's going to open up your mind to this. And you're going to take this opportunity. And then you're going to get fucking there. And that's how it fucking works.
We are one, bro. We are one.
Literally.
We are one. And I mean, like you said, bro, your whole life experience of how you got to where it is that you are, you realize that you were living the wrong way and you had to follow that voice within. And it's about how loud can we make that voice, And when we get faced with adversity because we're on the path following what God wants for us, it's like a test, like you said. And are you going to break code? Are you going to lose faith in God? Are you going to revert back to your lower level type of ways and disappoint God? And I don't ever want to disappoint God because I get the joy of experiencing love and family every single day. My kids, my health, my wealth, the clients that I have, man. Being born in America, bro. Like, how fortunate are we to be born in this fucking country? There's people that don't even have homes right now, live in third world countries. Like, bro, the gratitude that I express to God every single day is off the charts because I realize it could be totally different. And I want to give it all back to God because I understand without him, I'm nothing, And yeah, it's just pure and you can't fake it. It just radiates and it's like the Holy Spirit, it's just well and alive within a lot of people. And if we can bring the Holy Spirit to the forefront, then, we could defeat Satan, the devil, whatever you want to call it, the evil powers that be. Yeah, and I truly believe like that's why they're doing what they're doing right now is because we live in a time right now where God is coming alive, well within inside of you. The Christ-like mind is there waiting to be tapped into within inside of yourself so that voice can reign supreme over, the temple of God, which is ultimately yourself. And they know this. They fucking know this, that it's time, that God is coming back, that the Spirit of Christ is coming back. Everybody's like, Jesus is going to come back. Jesus is going to come back. I'm going to tell you right now, Christ is only coming back within you. Everybody says nobody's coming to save you. No man with long hair is going to come back on this earth and take you up into the clouds or any of that shit, bro. It's going to come alive within you. The Christ-like spirit you ignites and gets married to your spirit, and then together you, God and Christ, become one, and your mind is now renewed, and you operate out of the realms of a higher consciousness, tapped into the kingdom of heaven within you, and you take your direction and your purpose from the divine God spirit within you. And if we do that as a unit, the powers that be know they are fucked. They are fucked, and they do not want that. And it's war, and I fucking love it.
Hell yeah. So guys, for you listening, this is kind of what tap-in meetings are like. We're all about tapping into our higher selves, talking about God and how we can implement the things into our daily lives. And so if this is something you guys are interested in joining, this is a community full of like-minded people just trying to find, more purpose and, tapping into their higher selves. And we meet on Monday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern. And if you guys are interested, I'll put it in the show notes. You guys get in touch with Jesse. He's doing some phenomenal things. Give us a background of why you started Tapin, brother.
God put me on this mission, bro. I was, and I still am nervous about it, man, because I feel like I'm taking on the world, but man, like I'm taking on Satan, bro. And ultimately, isn't that what Jesus Christ does? Like in the book of the Bible, he's taking on Satan, like he's taking on the people to try to get them to realize and build a relationship with God and turn to God and all this shit. Like, and what a better purpose than to live. And I started this because I experienced it, bro. I had no relationship with God. I fell to the bottom and I was like, man, I got nothing. I got to turn to God. Okay, God, who and what are you? Like that's what I literally did. And I started with Tony Robinson, started listening to Joel Osteen, found a dude, Bill Donahue on YouTube, started reading the Bible, started meditating. And the transformation just started to happen. And I was like, holy shit, bro. Like, this is what they don't want. Like, our whole life has been structured. And I was like, man, it's all within us. That's the key. And you hear people talk about that. This isn't some new thing. People say like, oh, the answers are within you, this and that. It's like all hippiness. But like, bro, I'm telling you, like the wisdom, it'll pour through. And my whole life, I give credit to me tapping into the spirit of God within me, which was dead for a very, very long time. And we all have a spirit, right? And if the spirit of God dwells within me, then I want to find that spirit. I need to latch onto that spirit. And when I finally did, man, that spirit held me accountable. My physical flesh might have wanted to go and do this, but then here comes the voice of God. Motherfucker, if you do that shit, you're gonna disobey me. You're gonna piss me off. The temptation of bad karma can begin to transpire. I was like, nah, I fear God because I know God has punished me several times and always wanted my attention. And yeah, so starting the tap in thing is just like, I'm not sitting here trying to tell anybody what to think or how to believe. I'm telling you that if you go inside yourself and you tap into the God within you and bring forth the Lord, which is your higher self, to the forefront of your being, then you'll get all the answers that you need. You'll find the way. Like, that's between you and God, your personal relationship. It has nothing to do with me. It has something to do with you and the relationship with your Father who dwells in heaven. And the fact that a lot of people think like the goal is to get into heaven. Well, Jesus literally tells you in Luke 17:21, the kingdom of heaven is within you. Like, he literally tells you it's within you. So when I read that, I was like, what the fuck? It's not like up in the sky. Like, it's not a place you go when you die. It's within me. Like, okay, well, let me go find it. And it even says it too. I think it's in Mark. Jesus tells you, like, seek first the kingdom of heaven and everything else I'll give to you. Like, you think I know that you don't need food? You think I know that you don't need clothes? Bro, come seek the kingdom first, and then everything else I'll give you your heart's desires. And so again, I did that, and now my heart's desires are being fulfilled, and now I'm put on this mission and this purpose to help people renew the spirit of God within them, so that we ultimately don't walk ourselves off of a cliff and these motherfuckers in power don't fucking slave us and sterilize us with vaccines and all this shit, bro. Like, bro, I'm about it. Like, that's what I'm telling you. Like I'm bringing God to the forefront. So, like, and again, like, I'm just passionate about it, man. It's truth. So I guess that's what got me started to tap in. Like, I hate seeing people suffer. I hate seeing people suffer, and they have no idea. They have no idea what's dwelling inside them. That if they can just find it and tap into it and become disciplined and purpose driven to fulfill their Father's desire within inside themselves, man, you will be led down your path. You will be led on your purpose. I promise you. Follow that higher voice. Make it come alive within you. Allow God to have dominion over your kingdom. That's what he wants. Like, and that's what he tells you. No weapon shall be formed against you, you know? Like, bro, I'm about that. Please, yes. I don't want any fucking enemy to come and destroy what it is that I have built. So God, guard this at all times, please.
Yeah, no, facts. And I think something that a lot of people struggle with right now is they feel lost. And they feel so lost, but yet they're looking in all the wrong places. And the fact that, you know, the kingdom of heaven is within you, and everyone, like, you know, the people that want to go to church every Sunday just to try to get into heaven, but ultimately they're not going to, because they're supposed to be tapping into heaven every single day within you. And I think that's something that so many people struggle with, and that more people need to realize. And so just you sharing that, like, is going to help a tremendous amount of people. So for the audience listening, I really hope you guys think about this and really start to tap into your higher self and, you know, the kingdom within you, because ultimately that is where the kingdom is. It's not about the afterlife. You know, we have this life right now. And if you're tapped into the kingdom of heaven inside of you throughout your whole life, then at the end of your life, what does it matter?
Yeah.
It really doesn't.
This flesh, I don't mean to cut you off, but this flesh is just a vehicle. You are a conscious being. You are energy. You are a frequency, bro. That is it. Like, if I die right now, my body's right here, but where did Jesse go? Like, where did Jesse go? He left the body. You know what I'm saying? So, like, you have to operate out of that mentality of, you're a conscious being, and how do I elevate my conscious to dwell in a higher place? You know, you have hell, you have heaven. Your consciousness needs to take the stairs, which is your spine, in an energetic frequency way, and tap into each chakra and get to that, you know, that Christ-like mind, to where your heaven fucking explodes and you're dwelling up here at the right hand of God, which, you know, that's what he tells you, you know, come sit at the right hand of the Father. You know, who's going to be worthy to sit on the throne of God? You know, well, you better not sin. You better follow that higher voice within inside yourself, so that he'll lead you, you know, to the Holy Land. So
Yeah, no, that's some real shit. That's hard to comprehend for a lot of people, but hey, it's the truest shit around, man. That is as true as it is.
You're the temple, bro. You are the temple of God. I didn't say it. The book said it. It's not me telling you that, bro. The book says it. So if I'm the temple of God and this is filled with fucking Jack Daniels and I'm over here every day, you know, and I'm snorting cocaine, or I'm fucking injecting heroin, or I'm, you know, watching porn, or I'm fucking just destroying my temple, what the fuck do you think is going to happen to your life? God's in here and he's like, bro, what are you doing to my house? What are you doing to the spirit that I gave you the opportunity to fucking live a great life following me? But instead, you fucked up. You're following sin. You're following the devil. You fell into the trap. You forgot your way. You forgot who and what you are. Come back. In Matthew, it talks about the shepherd who has 100 sheep. He says if one sheep goes lost off the mountain, you think that shepherd's not going to go and find that sheep? And when he finds it, he's going to be full of fucking joy that he's able to return that one sheep back to the 99? Each one of us is that one sheep. We're all fucking lost. Like you said, we all feel lost. We all feel, because your spirit is lost. Your spirit has been polluted on purpose by the enemy because they don't want you tapping in. Fuck that. Tap in.
Let's go, baby. I'm fucking fired up, dude. I love that. Oh, it makes me even more excited for tonight's call. Oh, that's freaking awesome. So I know, so you know me, I'm very much into fitness. Fitness has helped change my entire life. So I want to ask you this. How has fitness helped you with being an entrepreneur and also tapping in with, you know, your higher self?
Yeah, great question. I mean, I want to embody the kingdom. You know, I want to represent what the kingdom of heaven looks like. And if you close your eyes and you picture, like, what does the kingdom look like to you? You know, that's between you and you. You know, I'm not going to sit here and tell you what it looks like. But when somebody looks at me, you know, and granted, I'm not perfect by any means. You know, my physical body doesn't look like it wants to look like. But the fact that, you know, I try to be in good shape mentally, physically, and spiritually. If somebody were to come across me, have a conversation with me, whatever, I want to present myself in the brand of what God had for me, you know? So any opportunity that I have to go to the gym, work out, have a conversation with somebody, let them hear the words that come out of my mouth. It's it's just a way of life. And I want to be a physical representation of the best version of myself. And, you know, pushing weights is ultimately like, because in business, like you go and you do the same thing over and over again, you push and you push and you push, and you never really see, you know, the end zone getting closer. You know what I'm saying? So you're always like, is this working, man? Is it working? Is it working? Is this gonna work? And like Andy Frisella said, like it's like a hockey stick. It goes straight, 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 and then eventually you start to see the curve. But when I go to the gym, like you moving physical weights, like you know you're putting in work. You know your muscles are tearing. You know that, you know, you're exercising. And so for me, it's just it's a mental push of hey, this shit is hard. You know, this is actually physical, enduring pain, or you know, if you're pushing yourself hard. And it just puts your mind in a proper space. You know, the endorphins, the science behind working out. It's just all tied into the lifestyle. I people like David Goggins, people like yourself, people who just freaking do crazy ass workouts and stuff and push their body. Like, I freaking applaud you guys, man. You inspire me, man, because it's I'm over here like I'm a little bitch and you guys are going ham, bro. You know, it's like, dude, I want to emulate that, you know, because like we said before the call started, you know, you just want to push yourself. You just want to see what you're made of. I don't want to waste this experience of life and not experience, you know, what God had intended for me physically, mentally, spiritually. It's like if I want something, I know I can go get it. I just got to do the work. You know, I just got to do the work. That's it. So like, if you want to have a physical, great physique, just go do the work, follow the plan. There's a plan for everything. So, yeah, it's just all tied in. So crazy.
Yeah. So, I mean, one thing you mentioned with Goggins and stuff like that, yes, that man is insane. I'm not quite on his level, but me growing up being the fat kid and stuff like that and extremely overweight, I was never a runner. And one thing we talked about for the call is just, you know, getting on your comfort zone running. I do it because I fucking hate it. And it just makes me better. And when I ran my marathon, I ran a marathon. It was almost a year ago on Veterans Day because I just 2 weeks before I was like, you know what, I want to push myself completely. I've done a couple half marathons and I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna run a full marathon. Had like 2 weeks of training. Furthest I'd ran in over a year was like 7 miles. And that day came up and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do it. And it was one of the hardest things I've ever done, but it broke that limiting belief because I hit a point where it was like, all right, I can either quit now on mile 16, I hit the wall, or I can see what I'm really made of. And those last 10 miles, it really pushed me to see what I'm capable of. And just being able to do that just shows like how much your mind is limiting you because yeah, my body could have like kept going and my mind was telling me not to. And I think that's one thing that like limits so many people. And that's where like fitness and like pushing yourself physically can translate in every other area of life because, you know, when you're in that much pain and you're continuing to push through, even though your mind's telling you not to, and your body's like, you know, you should stop, but yet you continue to push through. It breaks through that limiting belief, and I think so many people are afraid to push themselves out of, you know, their comfort zone in order to become, you know, what they're meant to be. And so many people like they hit that wall in any area of their life, and you're like, I can't go anymore. But what happens when you actually just push through a little bit more? That's where the growth comes. That's where the next best version of yourself comes. And I think that fitness has correlated that for me into business, my relationships, and because now when shit gets tough in business, I don't think about quitting. I'm looking for opportunities or like different paths of how I'm going to overcome this compared to before I'd be like, fuck that, it's not for me, it's too hard. And now it's just like, no, don't be a bitch. There's a will, there's a way. You can figure it out. This isn't the end because and then one other thing I have to remind myself is like, this is where most people quit. Like that point where it gets really fucking hard is where most people start complaining. They start to quit. They start playing the victim card. And that's what's really like the biggest difference maker in my life is just realizing that like I still have to like right now I'm going through a lot of tough shit with my new facility and stuff like that. I'm just a bunch of problems. And it's like, this is where most people quit. If I can make it past this point, it's going to be better. And you know, it's always darkest or it's always light. The light is always the brightest after darkness. And the fact that I realize that now compared to like if I was faced the adversity I am now within my business right now, 4 years ago, I would have crumbled. But now that I've learned all these things, the Lord within me has prepared me to be able to overcome these obstacles to show me what I'm truly capable of in business, fitness, and every area of my life. And, all the problems and stuff now, it's like, damn, this sucks kind of going through it. But ultimately, like, if I was going through this years ago, it would have crumbled me. And that's why the Lord doesn't necessarily give you what you want right at this moment, because he knows you're not going to be able to handle it. And you might crack, and then you might give up on that dream. So for me to be in the position I am now, to realize that, I wasn't in this position 3 years ago because I wouldn't have made it through. I would have gave up because it would have been too much for me. And I think that's something that so many people struggle with, is the fact that they aren't willing to push past that point and become that better version of themselves. And I think that's like the number one thing people struggle with, is just finding a way to get past that uncomfort for the first part of it, and then it becomes easier.
I think your answer to your question was fire, bro. And for everybody listening, I second everything that you just said, bro. That was good stuff about pushing yourself past the limits, breaking through, because the same obstacles and struggles, the pain, it does reflect, in business, and you can't compare that to the gym, So, and again, everybody has their own method of madness to pursue and to continue to push through. And I think we need to share those more and more so that we can all relate to each other and figure out what does work for us, So yeah, fire answer. And I would say, like, I use that similar mindset in the fact that if I am following God and obeying his way, whatever adversity, whatever struggle that I'm put through is for a reason. It's to help me grow. He's like, Jesse, this is, you told me what you want. You got to go through this. Like just chill. Like, this is part of the process to evolve and to expand and to become more valuable, to become more knowledgeable, to grow into what it is that you want, So just go through it. I'm with you. Remember that I got your back. I'm not going to let you fail and your whole business come falling down, like just keep pushing one day at a time, and keep the faith, and do whatever it is you need to do to keep your mind right. And like you said, with people, they don't want to push through that comfort zone, and who's really in control of this? You know what I'm saying? Like you said, when you were running the 16 miles and you pushed through and you found out more about yourself, like, and how powerful the mind is. The mind wants you to quit, but the body will keep going. It's like, who's in control of this? So just something to think about for your listeners and your viewers. But yeah, good answer to your question. Love that.
So usually I wrap it up with asking everyone who I have on, like, what book has made the biggest impact on your life? I already know the answer to this
You
question
already
right
know.
here, brother. Yeah, I mean, I don't, but
Yeah.
let's just hear your answer to it.
It's the Bible. It's the Bible. And I'll tell you this, bro, I am not a reader, dog. I have not read one book from start to finish, and I don't know how long, honestly. Think and Grow Rich was probably the last book that I read from start to finish, probably 3 years ago. Like, I am bad with reading books, but man, I tell you, dude, when I open that Bible, I can read it. It's just like food for my soul, bro. It speaks to my spirit, and it's like, it's the word of God. And like, that's what I want to fill myself with. And there's tons of values in other books. Don't get me wrong. Like, there's tons of value, but that is the book that changed my life 100%, because it just started making light bulbs go off. And it was guidance and direction and wisdom and a way of life that I was never structured with growing up. And if I had that structure, if I had that relationship, man, my life would probably be different, but I wouldn't change it for the world, because I have a family and kids now. But it does tie back to, I felt like I was robbed of my baseball career, because my goal was to always play, Division I and then go to the pros. And I fucked that off. And I was like, wow, I lost my whole identity as a baseball player now. Like, who am I? What am I? And that book gave me everything I needed to do to create a new identity. So I'm grateful for that. And whoever the fuck wrote that.
Hell yeah. Love that, brother. So that's really all we got for you guys today. How can people get in touch with you, Jesse?
Instagram at Piccolo_place. And my website is jessipiccolo.com. You can hit me up on there. And yeah, if you got any questions, or if I can help you in any type of way, man, I always tell people my line is open. Shoot me a DM. If you want to join the Tapin Zoom calls on Monday night, it's totally free. It's a free community. It's free because this is free knowledge, and this is what we need. I don't do this for money. I make plenty of money off of selling cars. I do this because this is God calling me to help people tap in and set them on their course to the one relationship, that they need with their Father who dwells in heaven. So Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. So for you guys that listen to this today, I'm sure that someone comes to mind that needs to tap in with their higher self and the Lord more. So if this episode is something that you think could benefit them, share the show with someone today, because Jesse's words today could truly help change that person's life. And if it didn't change your life, maybe you need to do some self-reflecting, because I mean, even just this conversation makes me reflect on a lot of things in my life and just continue to tap in and put faith in God, because ultimately He lives within inside of us. And, we need to protect this temple and right from wrong. And that's the whole point of this show, is help you become a better version of yourself. So really think about that today, and make sure you guys share the show. Don't hesitate to reach out to Jesse. And if you're interested in joining with the Tapin community, it's an amazing group of people that, we connect every Monday night, and we just chop it up, and Jesse puts out great lessons for us to all learn, and we get valuable information, and he provides a ton of value. So once again, thank you, Jesse, for joining me today. And yeah, always remember, guys, there is a fresh hope for better you.
Nice, bro.